When my grandmother died, she left me only one thing, a small gold ring with a dark green stone. My brother laughed when he saw it. Is that all? I got nothing. And you got a cheap old ring? But before Grandma passed away, she held my hand and whispered, Emma, never sell this ring. One day, it will open what our family buried. I thought she was confused. I was wrong. That ring was not jewelry. It was a key. My name is Emma Whitaker. I lived in Dallas, Texas, working 2 jobs and trying to pay off my mother's medical bills. My grandmother, Rose Whitaker, had raised me after my father disappeared when I was 8. At her funeral, everyone acted sad. But I saw my Uncle Grant watching the ring on my finger. Not my face, not the coffin, the ring. When I left the cemetery, he stopped me. Your grandmother promised that ring to me, he said. No, she didn't. His smile vanished. You don't know what you're wearing. That night, I came home and found my apartment door open. Nothing expensive was stolen. Only my grandmother's old photo albums were scattered across the floor. On my kitchen table was a note, "Give back the ring." My hand started shaking. I called my brother, Tyler. He said, maybe you should just give it to Uncle Grant. It's not worth dying over. But something in his voice felt wrong, like he already knew more than he was saying. The next morning, I looked closely at the ring. Inside the band, under years of dust, I found tiny letters. W.R. 1947. Black Hollow. Black Hollow was a ghost town in Colorado. Grandma had once told me our family left Colorado because of a curse. I thought it was just an old story. Then I found an envelope hidden inside her sewing box. On it, she had written, "For Emma, when they come for the ring." My blood ran cold. She knew this would happen. Inside the envelope was a letter. Emma, if you are reading this, then I am gone and someone has already come for the ring. Do not trust Grant. Do not trust anyone who says the treasure belongs to them. Your grandfather died protecting the truth. Your father disappeared because he got too close. I stopped breathing. My father didn't abandon me. He disappeared. At the bottom of the letter, Grandma wrote, "The ring opens the first lock. The second key is buried where the church bell fell." There was only one place that could mean Black Hollow. I drove to Colorado alone, but halfway there, I noticed a black SUV behind me. Same distance, same turns, same gas stations. When I stopped at a motel in Amarillo, the SUV stopped too. That night, someone knocked on my door. I looked through the peephole. It was Tyler, my brother. "How did you know where I was?" I asked. He smiled sadly. "Emma, you need to come home." Then I saw Uncle Grant standing behind him. Grant stepped forward. "Give me the ring, and this ends." Tyler wouldn't look at me. "You told him?" I whispered. "He said it belongs to the family," Tyler muttered. "He said Grandma lied to us." Grant grabbed my wrist. I kicked him and ran. Behind me, I heard him shout, "You have no idea what your father stole." I drove through the night, crying so hard I could barely see the road. My own brother had betrayed me. For money. Black Hollow was almost empty. Broken wooden buildings, a burned church, and wind moving through dead grass. I found the old church ruins at sunset. The bell tower had collapsed decades ago. Under the fallen bell, I found a rusted iron box buried in the dirt. The ring fit perfectly into a small, round lock. When I turned it, the box clicked open. Inside was not gold. It was a map and a photograph of my father. Alive, taken only 3 years ago. The map showed 3 locations. 1, Black Hollow Church. 2, Whitaker Mine. 3, St. Agnes Cemetery, Montana. On the back, someone had written, "The treasure is not where the gold was hidden. It is where the truth was buried." I didn't understand. Then an old man appeared behind me. "You look like your father," he said. His name was Samuel Reed. He had known my grandfather, and he told me the story our family had buried for 70 years. In 1947, my great-grandfather worked for a wealthy mining family called the Aldridges. The Aldridges owned gold, land, and political power. But before their empire collapsed, they hid a fortune. Gold bars, diamonds, bonds, and documents proving murder, theft, and corruption. My great-grandfather helped hide it. But when he wanted to reveal the truth, he was killed. The ring was made as one of 3 keys. Samuel looked at me and said, "Your grandmother wasn't protecting treasure, Emma. She was protecting evidence." Samuel took me to Whitaker Mine. The entrance was sealed with old wood and rusted chains. I used the ring again on a hidden metal plate inside the wall. A door opened behind loose stone. Inside the mine, we found a small room. There were old crates, broken lamps, and one locked chest. But before we could open it, we heard footsteps. Grant had followed us, and Tyler was with him. Grant pointed a gun at Samuel. "Step away from the chest." I stared at Tyler. "How could you do this?" Tyler's eyes were wet. "You don't understand, Emma. I owe people money." Grant said the treasure could fix everything. Grant laughed. "There is no family. There is only whoever gets there first." He opened the chest. Inside were gold coins, old documents, and another key. But under the documents was something worse. A death certificate, with my father's name on it, dated 12 years ago. I couldn't speak. "My father is dead." Samuel looked confused. "No, that certificate is fake." Grant grabbed the papers. "Your father used it to disappear." "Why?" Grant's face twisted. "Because he stole the second key from me." Then Tyler suddenly pushed Grant. "Run, Emma!" For 1 second, my brother chose me over money. Samuel and I escaped with the second key. But Tyler stayed behind. And then we heard a gunshot. I called the police. They found Tyler wounded but alive. Grant had escaped. At the hospital, Tyler cried. "I'm sorry, Emma. I thought if I got the treasure, I could pay my debts. I didn't know Grant would kill for it." I wanted to hate him. But he was still my brother. Before surgery, he held my hand and whispered, "Grant said Dad is in Montana." Montana. St. Agnes Cemetery. The 3rd place on the map. St. Agnes Cemetery was cold and quiet. The map led me to a grave with no name, only a symbol carved into the stone, the same flower engraved on Grandma's ring. The second key opened a hidden compartment under the grave marker. Inside was a small silver key and a cassette tape. On the tape, I heard my father's voice. "Emma, if you ever hear this, I'm sorry. I left to keep you alive." I fell to my knees. My father had not abandoned me. He had been protecting me. My father explained everything. He had found proof that Grant and the Aldridge family were working together to recover the treasure and destroy the evidence. When Grandma refused to give up the ring, Grant threatened us. So Dad disappeared, faked his death, and spent years hiding the final location. At the end of the tape, he said, "The last door is under the house where Rose was born. But beware, Emma. The greatest betrayal will come from blood." Blood. I thought it meant Grant. But I was wrong again. Grandma's childhood home was in Montana, abandoned near a frozen lake. Inside, the walls were covered with dust and old family pictures. In the basement, I found 3 locks on an iron door. The ring, the mine key, the cemetery key. All 3 fit. The door opened slowly. Behind it was a hidden vault. Gold bars lined the walls, jewelry, bonds, paintings, cash. It was worth hundreds of millions. But in the center of the room was a metal case marked Aldridge Files. That was the real treasure. That the files proved everything. The Aldrich family had stolen land, murdered witnesses, and framed innocent people. My great-grandfather had tried to expose them. They killed him. Then they spent generations hunting the keys. Grant was not just greedy. He'd been paid by the Aldriches. Suddenly, someone behind me said, "Put the files down, Emma." It was my mother. I turned slowly. My mother stood at the basement stairs, holding a gun. "Mom," she was crying. "I'm sorry. I had no choice." Grant had not found me alone. My mother had told him everything. She said she needed money for her treatments, for debts, for a life she felt Grandma had stolen from her. "Your grandmother loved you more than me," she whispered. "Even at the end, she gave you the ring." My heart broke. The greatest betrayal had come from blood. Grant arrived moments later. He didn't want to share the treasure with my mother. He shot her in the shoulder and grabbed the files. Then he set fire to the basement. Smoke filled the vault. I dragged my mother toward the stairs while Grant tried to escape with gold and documents. But the old wooden beams collapsed. He screamed for help. For a moment, I wanted to leave him. Then I remembered Grandma. Truth mattered, but so did who I became while fighting for it. I called out to him, "Drop the gold and take my hand." He refused. The ceiling fell. Grant vanished in the flames. Outside, police sirens filled the night. An older man stepped out of a black car. I knew his eyes before I knew his face. "Emma," he whispered. It was my father, alive. He had been working with federal investigators for years, waiting until the full evidence could be recovered safely. I ran to him and cried like the 8-year-old girl who had waited at the window for him to come home. "I thought you left me," I said. He held me tightly. "Never. I left so they wouldn't bury you with the truth." The Aldrich files exposed one of the biggest hidden corruption cases in American history. The fortune was seized, then legally divided. Some went to victims' families. Some went to protecting historical land. And some came to me. More money than I ever imagined. But I did not feel rich. I felt tired. I used part of the inheritance to pay Tyler's medical bills and put him into rehab. My mother survived, but our relationship was never the same. My father came back into my life slowly, carefully, one day at a time. And Grandma's ring? I kept it. Not because it opened a vault, but because it opened the truth. Years later, I visited Grandma's grave and placed fresh flowers beside her stone. "You were right," I whispered. "The ring did open what our family buried." Then I looked at the gold band on my finger. It had given me treasure. It had cost me family. It had brought back my father. And it had taught me the most painful truth of all. Sometimes the real inheritance is not money. It is the courage to face what everyone else tried to hide.